Welcome to week 2 of the Elestriad, where DistantCoder, representing Aeolus and the Wind Pantheon, throws down against MBT, also representing Aeolus and the Wind Pantheon. These two casters are ready to throw down in one of the most anticipated matches for the Elestriad. I, for one, am very excited. This is one that I looked at the schedule ahead of time and I'm like, oh my god, I can't wait to see this match. I hope it does not disappoint. I have high hopes. You guys can check out their pre-games, their deck builders in the description below, and make sure you show some love. Hit that like button, subscribe, and let me know who you got in this one, DistantCoder or MBT, in the comments section below. And don't forget to check out our awesome store, shop Elestrals.com. The weekend this match is going up is also when Shattered Stars pre-orders are live, where you get 3 packs delivered to your door every single month for only 15 bucks. Plus, if you pre-order now, you get this stained glass promo Stratamoth, which is right above my head. It's an amazing card. You guys don't want to miss out on Shattered Stars, so check that out. Without further ado, let's jump into the clash. All right, let's dive in. I really want to see Pandora's Box. Both casters are running it. It is the ultimate counter to Aeolus. I really want to see it in this clash. DistantCoder is going to kick things off with an Astravid into defense position. That 5 defense Astravid is so clutch, being able to look at the top 3 cards of your deck and add one of those cards to your hand. This is definitely the best opener, right? Like, if you can open anything in the Elestrals, if it's not Spark, it's Zeus, which is just oppressive. Astravid in defense is such a good starting point, especially when you're Coder, right? And you have this Voltempest strategy where, you know, if you could have Voltempest and you have Zeus out, there's a really good chance you can win this clash. So having that defensive Astravid out right out the gates is just going to be huge. There's no back row play, though, from DistantCoder, so MBT is going to draw. Now, the advantage MBT has here is he's got an extra card in his hand from where he was before, and we see a Zaptor hit the field, but we see their Astravid of their own. Yes, MBT gonna cast an Astravid as well. We're gonna have both casters hitting the field with this little rabbit, and you know, it's not a surprise, right? Astravid is a very top tier card. A lot of decks run it. It's one of the things that propels Thunder to kind of the top of the metagame right now. That 5 defense stat is just so difficult to hit over. The ability to look at the top 3 cards and add one and then not reveal is just so valuable at this stage of the game, especially early on. It can search out those tools like Earthquake. It can give you the back row. You have 3 options to choose the best thing. It's incredible. We're going to see 2 spirits come down, a water and a wind, and that's going to be for Nectar of the Gods. DistantCoder able to draw 2. I've talked about it in many clashes up to this point that the optimal time to play Nectar of the Gods is early game when you still have plenty of spirits and you still have plenty of options. Those 2 cards are very valuable right now as he fishes out some of his removal. He's looking for a way to clear this Astravid with no back row. There's a really good opportunity here for DistantCoder to get a little bit of an advantage in this clash or continue to bolster his defenses, right? With those receive effects like Astravid has, you have the opportunity to activate it again on this turn if you wanted to through Nexus or otherwise. But this is a huge play for DistantCoder. Elechick is going to be able to search out a Divine Rune from his deck, and he is running both Aeolus and Zeus, which I love because oftentimes you see decks that rely on one element or the other, not both. But in this context, he has the option to grab either or, and he is going to grab Zeus right here, and it looks like he's going to enchant it with 2. I'm surprised only 2. Because now he's gonna just use that 1 spirit. Oftentimes people will load up Zeus to 3 or 4, but in this context he's gonna be able to drop the defense stat of the opposing Astravid with Zeus's effect, be able to hit over it with the Elechick, and then get a free shot with that Astravid. The one downside of that is now your Astravid is quite vulnerable. Oftentimes, I think to myself as a caster how valuable that 1 hit of spirit damage is when Astravid in defense position is a little bit more valuable. Considering Elechick, its usefulness is kind of done outside of being a 4 attacker right now, right? Its effect has already been used. And this is where, oh man, MBT gets the exact thing he needs. Hydrake with 4 attack hits the field, and it can crash right into that Elechick and get his Twindra out right now. This is huge for MBT. Both Elechick and the Hydrake sporting 4 attack. They're going to crash into each other. That does count as a destroy for Hydrake, so now it gets to go and search out Twindra and then take out the Astravid. This is a huge field flipping play for MBT, and one of the reasons why we had so many people representing Aeolus in this clash and this Elestriad, because just the snowballness, the snowball effect that you get from getting out Twindra, Hydrake, and of course ultimately Pantera. It can really turn a game. Now if you're Coder, you're like, okay, I'm on the back seat now. I can hit over this Twindra, but I'm gonna need a way to get through I'm going to need a way to get through that Pantera. So Twindra's going to hit. He's going to take another spirit damage there, I'm assuming. I'm not sure if he missed that, but I'm pretty sure he did. So we've got Twindra on the field. We've got the Zeus. Looks like he's going to be thinking of his play. He's got 2 Earth Spirits. He has the Earthquake. Well played from DistantCoder there. The exact card he needed. I think veteran players know you don't just burn your Earthquake turn 1 on that Astrabbit, right? Like, you can, but when you're playing up against wind, you really need to be prepared for that Twindra, for that Pantera, and kind of optimally time it. I think there's an argument to be made. You can maybe sometimes wait for the Pantera to hit the field before you Earthquake, but I think this was the right timing here in this mid game, especially being a little behind on spirits. This is a huge play, though, for DistantCoder, being able to grab the Aeolus from his Elechic. So we saw him grab the Zeus. Now he's grabbing the Aeolus. I love the fact that that can be switched up in this deck. A lot of opportunities here with these 2 Divines, kind of pairing up the power of the gods on this one. And we see a Rune go face down, and then Elechic's going to hit directly here into the Spirit deck of MBT and get this clash just a little bit closer. I really want to see Pandora's Box. I'm a little biased here. If you're MBT, you've got plenty of opportunities to get right back in here, right? Another Hydrake puts you right back where you were, right? Like, you can very easily crash into Elechic, get a Hydrake out, and or a Twindra out, and try the strategy again. So you do have that. Actually, I stand corrected. I just peeked at MBT's deck list. He's only running 1 Twindra. So that Twindra strategy is out the door. There's a few other things you can do here, though. A defensive play with Astrabbit can get you back in it. You've got Sorlet, which can hit over the Elechic, so plenty of opportunities there. We're going to see Zeus hit the field. I think there's an interesting dynamic here as well where, you know, Zeus can actually play and help out the, you know, the Voltempest on the other side. This is interesting. It looked as though MBT played the Zeus, disenchanted the Zeus, targeted the Elechic, and then cast P-Gust. I would think you do it the other way. I would think you cast the P-Gust first, make sure the Rune is not something that stops you from attacking, and then you disenchant the Zeus. So, you know, obviously MBT has a lot of experience in Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm not trying to question the play there. Maybe I missed something, but I think the optimal play there is you cast first, because if Coder had Tsunami, P-Gust is forced into defense, and then you can't actually KO the Elechic, and you wasted the Spirit from Zeus to drop its attack stat, right? So that's where I'm coming from with that. So we're going to see DistantCoder actually not even need the Aeolus. He did lose that Resting on Your Laurels. That's a pretty big loss at this stage of the game, but I guess if you're going to get something P-Gust, that's fine. Hydrake comes in, takes out the P-Gust, gets a KO. Here comes another P-Gust. Does he go after the face down rune, though? Let's find out. He is, and it's going to be Helios' Chariot Ride that gets picked off. Helios' Chariot Ride, a card that has to be played in the draw phase that allows you to set up for those big plays, right? Because you're stopping your opponent from having any sort of rune opportunities when you play that card. I like to use it in a deck with Blazerus, because if you can get Blazerus out, you can get those double attacks off and get Trifernal out. You can steamroll pretty quickly. His Zeus gets picked off by a P-Gust. The P-Gusts are flying everywhere. He takes out the P-Gust. Another Spirit goes down. MBT down to 9 spirits. DistantCoder at 8, but with 3 on board. MBT needs to make a comeback here, and I think he's got plenty of tools to do it. It seems he hasn't really used any back row. He's really been conservative at this point in the game, kind of feeling things out. We saw the big Twindra play that didn't work out, but let's do a quick listen in here and see what is going on.
What does expend mean? I have an Exaltair.
Expend means to send spirits from your spirit deck to your underworld.
This just burns you? What are you at?
Yeah, it's a burn. I'm at 8. You have to successfully Nexus, though, so you gotta have an Aeolus up in there.
Oh, you can't just Nexus with yourself?
No. Well, I mean, you can, but you have to Nexus from one card to another.
Oh, that's annoying. Can you
like
Nexus?
Exaltair isn't just, I'm gonna free burn.
I thought it was. Can you Nexus the same number? Okay, we are.
So fun little discussion there as MBT tries to work through the Nexus mechanic. But basically the way Nexus works is it's a relationship between 2 different cards. Oftentimes it's a Divine Rune and an Elestral, and you move spirits from one card to another from an effect that allows you to Nexus. So MBT does have the Aeolus after playing Resting on Your Laurels to clear the Hydrake. If you don't know, Resting on Your Laurels, you get to choose. The caster chooses if there's a tie. So both Hydrake and P-Gust have the same amount of spirits on them. So that's a huge play. Resting is massive. Clears the Hydrake, makes its effect invalid. He gets to play his Aeolus out. He's going to do 2 spirits on it, and then he's going to throw down Exaltair. A huge play here. This actually can be massive. He can Nexus 2. He's going to. That's going to burn for 2 on Exaltair's effect. It seems like MBT mastered Nexus already. He just needed a quick explanation. 2 spirits going down for DistantCoder. And Exalter is now sitting at 3 attacks, so if it attacks the P-Gust, he's going to take 2 more spirits of damage here and bring him down to, I believe, 4 spirits. Now, the only thing is, that is a big play from MBT without back row. That is a big play without back row. You have a 3 attacker on the field carrying the weight of 3 of your spirits right now. That's a lot. Like, that is not a position to be in if DistantCoder has anything that can attack a 3 attacker and destroy it. And we're going to find he doesn't even need it because he has Zeus too. So like that's another factor here. He's thinking about it. He's got a Wind Spirit. It's going to be an Elechick. He's going to misenchant this Elechick here. Maybe add a Thunder Spirits. Doesn't even need to use a Zeus. Able to hit it. This actually, I think maybe he's doing this because of Sorlet. But it's going to open the door for another Hydrake. But we know that MBT does not have Twindras. So a Crash here actually doesn't really make a lot of sense. A misenchanted Hydrake, he does go for the Crash, and it's not going to allow any sort of Twindra play here, as these 2 casters are down to just the final few cards. Final few spirits, 3 spirits for DistantCoder, 4 for MBT. Coder's reaching into his spirit deck. Let's see what he's got. Does he have a play here? He's got a hand. I saw a little bit of his hand there. He sneaked it a little bit. There is an Astravid in his hand, it seems. And that saved Thunder Spirit from the last turn gets him the Astravid play. He's going to be able to put Astravid in defense position as he vies for a little bit better setup here with only 2 spirits left. He does not want to lose that Astravid to an offensive attack for MBT. If you're MBT, now you're facing down 2 back row cards. It's important to note that you can use spirits on field to cast, counter, and invoke runes, which means that Zeus Spirit is not a dead spirit. If Coder wants to activate one of his face downs, he can pull the spirit from that Zeus and use that counter. But P-Gust might just foil those plans. What is the target here for P-Gust? He's going to bob something. Coder thinks about it. Does he have a play? Do you go after the Zeus at this point? He does go after the Zeus. I think that was a really smart play from MBT. You clear the Zeus out. You've got your 3 defense P-Gust. Astravid can't get it. That's 1 less spirit that Coder can actually use here. Coder's going into his his turn here. Let's do a quick listen in.
I'm gonna ascend.
Oh my god.
Into a Chrysor that's misenchanted.
Walk me through. Oh, so it's just a guy.
It's just a guy. It's an 8/4, but if it had its effect, it could attack you directly, and if it deals you damage, it would heal me for 2 wind.
Wow, you would win.
I'll go combat and I'll swing the P-Gust.
All right, one time
Have a
resting.
response for this. Go ahead. Yeah, resting is the punish. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, no resting. I have to put up a guy or I die, right?
Yeah.
A huge play there from Coder, getting out Chrysor, who's getting a lot of love in Elestrals lately. And here's an Exalter. Oh my god, if he doesn't have the right spirits for it. This is a lesson, ladies and gentlemen, and I think one of the coolest parts of Elestrals is that spirit management is so important. Coder could have won the game if he had the right wind spirit. MBT might have been able to win the game if he had saved his A-list or maybe been a little less aggressive earlier. Let's listen in. I think we're at the final moments of this clash.
So, yeah. So I'll place a spirit under the Chrysor so that it is now properly enchanted, and I will attempt to enter battle and attack you directly for 3 points of damage for game.
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah, bro.
Oh.
Holy.
I knew this
I've had this guy in my hand since turn 1, bro.
amazing. I knew this was good.
What a crazy clash that one was, and DistantCoder actually reveals at the end he had Pantera in his hand from turn 1, but he does end up properly enchanting Chrysor, a 1 of tech in his deck. He's going to be able to hit directly with 0 spirits left. MBT has a Shield of Achilles, but isn't able to use it because he doesn't have enough spirits on board. This was a back and forth dynamic clash, and it did not disappoint. This was the game we wanted to see, and they turned up. I hope you guys are excited for Elestriad. This was crazy, man. This was such a good clash. I'm on cloud 9. Like, this is crazy. That was a great game. I appreciate DistantCoder and MBT for throwing down. That was a lot of fun. Make sure you guys check out the Shattered Stars pre-order. You don't want to miss it. You only have a little bit of time left from the time this video goes up. Thank you guys so much for watching this one. I'll see you guys for week 3.